Secondary dominant seventh chords that I want to tackle today, but the dominant seventh chord that I just played that resolved on one major seventh chords, they are not secondary dominant seventh chord. They are instead primary dominant seventh chords of the major scales. I played different dominant seventh chord up and down the neck, and resolving on different one major seventh chords. Every major scale has one primary dominant seventh chord that resolve on the one major seventh chord. A perfect fourth up or a perfect fifth down. Okay, in the C, in the key of C major, the primary dominant seventh chord is G dominant 7, and then it's going to resolve on the one major seventh chord, which is the C major 7 chord. This is a dominant. This is a G dominant 7th chord. That's the primary dominant 7th chord of the C major scale, and resolving on the one major 7th chord, C major 7th chord. That's a given. There's no doubt about it. Every time we play a major scale, we know there's a primary dominant 7th chord, which is built on the 5th degree of the scale, and then the resolution chord, the resolution tonic for that primary dominant 7th chord is a one major 7th chord. Okay, so but there are other dominant 7th chords in the major scale, in this case in the C major scales, but those dominant 7th chords as opposed to the primary dominant 7 chord. They are called secondary dominant 7th chords. And why they are called secondary dominant 7th chord? Because they don't resolve on the 1 major 7 chord, which is the tonic of the scale. For example, the only primary chord on this in the C major scale is the G dominant 7th chord, and it's going to resolve on the 1 major 7 chord, which is the tonic of the scale. Okay? So, but the secondary dominant 7 chord from the C major scale is not going to resolve on the 1 major 7th chord. Instead, it's going to resolve on any other diatonic chords in the scale. Okay? That's why they are called secondary, because the intended resolution tonic is not the 1, is another diatonic chords in the scale. For example, D minor scale, E minor scale, F major 7. No, let me rephrase that. In the key of C major, in the key of C major scale, a secondary dominant 7th chord will not resolve on the 1 chord, on the 1 chord which is the tonic of the scale. A secondary dominant 7th chord will resolve on any other diatonic chords in the scale on 1 major 7. A secondary dominant 7 chord will not resolve on the 1 chord. Okay? Any other chord, any other diatonic chord, yes, but not the 1. That's why it's called secondary dominant 7 chord. Alright, it's a little bit confusing, but I think we can understand, we can get it. A rule of thumb is how can you identify a secondary dominant 7 chord? Well, the way you get a secondary dominant 7 chord is by playing a 7 chord, a dominant 7 chord, and then below the tonic, the root of the dominant 7th chord you're playing, below that, which is below that, a perfect fifth below that. A perfect fifth, I think, is 7/2 step below that. You get the tonic of the dominant 7 chord. I mean, this is where that dominant 7 chord is going to resolve instead of the 1 major 7, because only the primary dominant 7 chord is allowed to resolve on the 1 major 7 chord. Any other chord is considered secondary dominant, and they need to find some other chords to resolve on. Okay, so we can simply say a secondary dominant 7 chord is a chord that does not resolve on the 1 major 7 chord, which is the tonic of the major scale. And the dominant 7 chord is built a perfect fifth, 7 half steps below the root of whatever dominant 7th chord you are playing. Okay, let me rephrase that. To find the root, the intended chord of resolution for a dominant 7 chord, that means the intended tonic, the chord that the dominant 7 chord is resolved on, you need to play a chord a perfect fifth below the root of the dominant 7 you're playing, which is 7 half steps, and then that's the chord that the dominant 7 you're playing is going to resolve on. I think that explanation makes better sense than what I was saying earlier. So in that case, we can have, if the primary dominant 7 chord, which is in the key of C, which is a G dominant 7 chord, it is the dominant 7 chord of 1 major 7. So we can say that it is a 5/7 of 1 in the scale. So remember, we have in the scale we have seven notes. So the secondary dominant 7 chord, they can be 5 dominant 7 chord of 2 in the major scale. In the C major scale, that's 2 is a D minor 7. We also can get a dominant 7 chord, which is a secondary dominant 7 chord, because it's not going to resolve on the 1, it's going to resolve on the 3. So we can have 5/7 of 3. We can have 5/7 of 5. We can have 5/7 of 6. We can have 5/7 of 3. I think I say that already. So that's what the secondary dominant 7 chords are. And remember, when the chord that the secondary dominant resolve on, they must be diatonic to the scale of the major scale. And a diatonic chord is a chord that belongs to the major scale, because the major scale has a specific intervals arrangement, that every note must respect. Any note that does not follow the rule, the interval structure of the major scale, is not diatonic to the major scale. The major scale intervals are whole step, half step, whole step, half step. If a note or a chord violates that structure, that interval that structure, that arrangement, if any note or chord violates that, they are not diatonic to the scale because they don't belong to the major scale. An example, the major scale doesn't have a C sharp note. If I play a C sharp in the major scale, that C sharp is not diatonic to the major scale because it doesn't belong to the scale according to the interval arrangement structure of the major scale. A C is diatonic to the scale. A D is diatonic to the scale because C to D is a whole step. Okay? D to E is a whole step. So D and E, they are diatonic to the scale because they respect the structure, the interval structure, okay, of the major scale. So that's the way I understand diatonic and non-diatonic notes or chords in the major scale. So for all that being said, any secondary dominant seventh chord must resolve to a perfect fifth down, which is 7 half step down to another diatonic chord in the scale, not another chord from another scale. Okay. All right. So let's say I'm going to use the C. I'm going to use the C dominant. One thing. When you play the dominant, when we play the dominant seventh chord, we play dominant seven, dominant 7. We say 7, but we can also play 9, 7, 9. We can also play 13. All right. So like in the C, like in the G dominant 7th. Okay, we play G dominant 7, but we can add colors. We can add colors to the G dominant 7th chord by playing the 9 and the 13 of the scale. The 9 is actually the second of the scale. All right, well, of the scale of let's say G. That's the 9 of G scale. Or even though we are playing in even though I'm using C major scale as an example, but I'm talking about the chord now, the extension of the chord. So 9 will be G. A will be 9 in the key of G, and D and E would be 13. So I'm going to play, this is a G dominant 7. So I'm going to add 9 and E. I'm going to make it, that's G dominant 7, 9, 13. Okay, that either whatever you play, if you play just a simple dominant 7 chord, or you add tensions or extensions, 9, 13, you still resolve on the 1 major 7 chord for the primary dominant 7 chord. which is still, okay, C major 7. Okay, now let me see if I can demonstrate let me see if I can play some secondary dominant 7 chords using C dominant 7th chord, which is this one here. Okay, and that perfect fifth below the root C, because if you count 7 half step below that root C, you're gonna find F. So that means a secondary dominant 7th chord must resolve to a diatonic chord 7 half step, or a perfect fifth is going to resolve on F major 7. Okay, so it's going to be right here. This is I'm going to play, and then since the intended tonic is is F major 7. F major 7 is a major chord. So the tensions and extensions that we use for the primary dominant 7th chord, G dominant 7th chord, 9 and 13, we can use the same extensions here for the F major 7 because it is a major chord. So I'm going to play C dominant 7 9 13. C dominant 7 9 13. Yes. That's a secondary dominant 7 chord resolving on F major 7, which is a perfect fifth below the root of the C dominant 7 9 13 chord. Okay, so this is F major 7. Okay, so in the C major scale, F note is the 4th note of the scale. So we can call in the key of C major, we can call C dominant 7 5 7 of 4. Okay. Okay, so we call, in this case, we call C 1 7, okay, which then it becomes 5 7 of 4. Okay, the scale degree for the secondary dominant 7 chord I just play is 1 7. But that same C dominant 7 chord I play can be dominant 7th chord of different F depending on the scale, depending on the scale of the, so that's a secondary dominant chord, which is a 5 7. It's the fifth note. 5 7 of what scale? Of what key? Well, a perfect fifth below the root of the dominant 7. That's the tonic. That's the key. that chord, that dominant 7 chord belongs to. So in this case it's F. F major 7. Okay? So since F is a fourth note in the scale of C major, so we call that dominant 7 5 7 of 4 in the major scale. 1 7 5 7 of 4 in the major scale. Okay. Now, if we use 2, if we use F major, if we use the same C dominant 7 as 2 dominant 7. Remember, we use it as a 1 dominant 7. Now we're going to use it as 2 dominant 7. Okay, so where that chord is going to resolve. If it's a 2, well, we know it's going to resolve on F. It's going to resolve on F. But what kind of F? It depends on the tonic it's going to resolve on. So in this case, we know it was 5 7 of 4 in the C major scale when we use it as a 1 7. Now we're going to use it as a 2 7. Okay, it's not a 1 anymore. So if it's a 2, it must belong to a scale that is 1, that is a whole step below it. That's the 1. So if I'm playing C, and then now I'm using C as a 2 dominant 7 of what scale? Okay, so if it's a 2, there's a 1. Where's the 1? The 1 is a whole step below the 2. So that's C. It's gonna be C. Not C, B flat. It's gonna be B flat. Okay, B flat. So that's now that same dominant C dominant 7 chord has a different function, because it was a 1 C in the C major scale. It was a 5 7 of 4, but now it's a 2. It was a 1 7. Now it's a 2 7. So it belongs. It is a second degree of a following a 1. So that 1 is a B flat. Okay. So what is the 5th degree in B flat? It's an F. So now we're going to say now that dominant 7, that C dominant 7 chord has a different function now. Now it's not going to be 5 7 of 4 in the C major as it was in C major. In the C major scale, now it's going to be 5 7 of 5 in B flat. Okay, it's still the same chord. Still the same chord, but now I need to repeat those things so we can get it. Now remember, C dominant 7 is a 2 dominant 7, not a 1. So it belongs to, there's a 1, it follows a 1. So the 1 is B flat, B, C, and so on. The fifth degree in B flat is F. So that's why now C7 is a 5/7 of 5 in the key of B flat. Because now the C7, the C dominant 7 has a different function. Okay? It is not a 5/7 of 4 anymore. It is 5/7 of 5 in the key of B flat. You know what I'm going to do? Maybe I should get one more. I should play one more and then stop so that can sink in, because it's a little confusing. It's a little not confusing. It's a little complex, but we can get it. Let me keep going. We just play 5/7 of 5. It's the same F. The resolution tonic is still F, but different functions. Alright. So now I'm going to, let's try 5/7. Let's try, okay, we try 1/7, 1 dominant 7, C dominant 7, resolving on 4, 5/7 of 4. Then we play two dominant 7s, 2 dominant 7, which is C dominant 7 as a 2 dominant 7, and then it became 5/7 of 5. Now let's play 3. Let's use C dominant 7 as a 3. Okay? I guarantee you, the tonic is going to be still F. But what F depends on the scale. Depends on the type on the type of tonic, whether it is minor or major, that the dominant 7 chord is going to resolve on. Okay, let's use it as it let us use C dominant 7 as a 3 dominant 7. Okay, so all I need to do, since it's a 3, so there must be 2 and 1, which is like an interval of third. I'm going to use C7 as a 3/7. So of course there's 2/7, a whole step below that, and below the 2/7 there's another whole step. Okay, and guess what? I end up on A flat. I end up on A flat. All right. So if I end up on A flat, remember the C will still resolve on F. Okay. It doesn't matter what the dominant, it doesn't matter what the intended tonic is. What matters is the type of tonic. Is it minor or major? So now we know it's going to be an F for use in the key of A flat. So what is F in the key of A flat? Okay, let me see. Okay, in the key of A flat, F is a 6. It's note number 6. Yeah. Okay. In the key of E flat, F is the 6th note in the key of E flat. But in any major scale, the 6th note, note number 6 is a minor chord. But I'm trying to say, note the chord number 6. The chord built on number 6 is a minor chord. So in the key of A flat, F, where the C7 has been resolved on, is now a minor chord. Okay? So C7 right now in the key of A flat. Okay? C7. Now I'm going to play a C7 chord. I'm not going to play C913 because it's 9. The extensions or the tensions now, they're not going to be in this case. They're not going to be 9 and 13. Okay. So okay, this is the C7, and then the tonic, the intended tonic is going to be F minor. Let's say F minor 7 then. Okay. All right. C7. Let me C dominant 7, and resolving on F minor 7th in the key of A flat. Now the extension. Now we're not in a major scale now. We're not using C major scale. We're not using F major scale. Now I'm talking about the tonic. The tonic now is F minor 7. So the tonic is F minor 7. So the extension now, also called tension of the C dominant 7 chord, they're not going to be 9 and 13. Instead, they're going to be flat 9 and flat 13. It's going to be C7, flat 9, and flat 13. Alright? So it's going to be, let's see, right here. It's going to be this chord here. Alright? And then resolving on F minor 7. Alright?